This is the incident that happened a few days back. SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son said that this year his fund will invest just one-fourth the amount of last year in startups. The reason was the record $13 billion loss it suffered last year. But this decision has wavered the Indian startups. In fact, SoftBank is the biggest investor in Indian startups. It has invested more than $14 billion in India. SoftBank's decision will add further problems for Indian startups. Until last year, startups were known for growth, employment, funding, and unicorns. Nowadays, the situation is not that great. Now the funding is drying up. Growth and profit outlook has also dimmed. Investors are not confident regarding valuation, and listed startups are bleeding in share market. But what's the reason behind this? In the last few years, due to supportive environment, India became the third biggest startup ecosystem. This market is increasing with a growth rate of 12 to 15%. As per the Economic Survey of 2021-22, there are more than 14,000 startups in the country. Startups are quickly becoming unicorns. At the start of May, neo-banking platform Open became the 100th unicorn of India. But tough time for startups began last year. First of all, the IPO of these startups disappointed the investors. Their valuations were considered expensive by markets. Startups like Zomato, Paytm, Policy Bazaar are trading below their issue price. Concerns about valuations have also impacted funding. Indian startups have this year raised $5.8 billion in March and April, which is 15% less than what it was in the same period last year. In 2021, tech startups raised $35 billion as new funds. Even corporate governance issues in these startups have also brought concerns. You must have heard about the fiasco in BharatPay. Now let's come to profitability and cash burning. Along with Zomato, most of the new age businesses are based on cash burning. There is no idea about their profit or profitability. Out of 100 unicorns, only 23 are able to generate profits. Due to this, funding for these companies has become scarce. When the going got tough, startups started laying off employees. Cars24 has laid off 600 people from the job. EdTech Vedantu in May has fired 624 people in 2 rounds. The list is long. Is the time for Indian startups tough ahead? The answer is yes. PM Modi has considered this decade as a tech aid. He expects by the end of this decade there would be 60,000 startups. But this will only become possible when startups will prove themselves on all the fronts ranging from valuation to profitability.